Welcome to Football As We See It. This is Floydy the Seaside Geordie, and today we've got another story to tell. With over 600 career appearances, two championship playoff finals, one successful, taking Blackpool to the Premier League for the first and only time ever so far. Alex Baptiste, how's it going, Bab?
Oh yeah, yeah, good mate, good. How are you? You okay?
Yeah. So what you doing with yourself nowadays? Are you still in the football game? And
Yeah, so I work for the agency that looked after me. So I have a few players at Fleetwood, a few players at Bolton, and various other clubs. It's tough, and obviously I'm seeing a different side to football, but it's good. It's good, and the lads that I've got are really good lads. So just obviously trying to guide them, and hopefully they have a decent career and earn a bit of money throughout their lives.
Definitely. Is it harder than you expected from coming from the football game yourself into now being an agent side of it?
Yeah, so the recruitment side's hard.
Yeah.
Obviously speaking to players about football is easy, and I'm really lucky in the sense of that the lads that I have are really, really good lads. They listen and they want to learn and stuff like that. It's just the recruitment side really tough. I was an honest player, and lads, I understand they don't want to let you down and not tell you. Do you know what I mean? And whereas obviously, it's not, I just figure if you're honest from the get go and just say thanks a lot, but no thanks, then that's fine. But I've been done dirty on a few of them, but it is what it is. You learn. And I completely understand, because you only have one career and you've got to obviously do what's best for you.
Yeah.
Just the way some people, well, it's just life. Do you know what I mean? The way people don't get honesty, and do you know what I mean? But it's okay. It's all good.
Flipping that a little bit. So yourself as a young professional fan, did you have an agent, and how did you choose your agent? Is that a reason you've gone into that?
Yeah, 1000%. So I'm from a council estate, me and my mum, and I broke through at the first team at Mansfield at like 17. Yeah. Obviously, an older pro came to me, says, "Can my agent wants to speak to you." Blah blah blah. Anyway, so we're at home, and we're in this council estate. It was on a cul-de-sac, and then a Porsche-driven chauffeured car came up, obviously on the road, came into my house. The chauffeur was stood outside. Obviously, everyone looking, Jesus Christ, never seen a car like this in my life. Came to my house, sold me the dream. Mum was like, I don't know, but I was like, are you winding me up? This guy's, talked to unbelievable. Yeah. Then for 2 years, I didn't see him again. He just obviously wanted me to
sign on the dotted line.
Sign on the dotted line, but he wanted me to. I was a small fish in a big pond in terms of like they just recruit and look for the best young lads and hope that one makes it.
They hit the jackpot on someone, yes.
And unfortunately for him, I didn't kick on. He didn't trust in me or believe in me, because obviously I didn't kick on in them 2 years. I kicked on 22, so this was obviously 17. And then so I didn't hear from him for 2 years, and then I always thought that, like, I always knew straight off the bat I didn't want to go into coaching, and I always knew that if when I retire, I'm going to do this right. Do you know what I mean? With my players, I'm going to come to the games and stuff like that. And but it still happens now. So but like I said, the lads that I've got, are great, and a regular contact, and it's important. Do you know what I mean? To know that they've got someone batting for them in the corner. So.
Definitely. Do you aim at a certain age? Do you aim at just for youngsters, or do you have people that you go at actually pros, like in the mid-20s, or is that something?
Yeah. So I just aim for all over, really. The clubs that I've been at, and obviously, I had a lot of lads knew me from football, and then so in that 2-year period of when I retired, I was still obviously. I had a name where, people might know me. I had obviously lads that I played with at certain clubs that I moved on to other clubs, and do you know what I mean? And obviously firing into them to try and speak to lads. It was just all over. Obviously the easiest ones, the easiest lads to speak to are the ones that are just coming through. Do you know what I mean? Because the older lads, the mid-20s, the 30s, they already have agents. They already, obviously had relationships and and really agents have gained their trust and stuff like that. So obviously, I wouldn't have left my agent at 25 or up to. Well, I never left him. Do you know what I mean? Does that make sense? So
Yeah, definitely.
It's obviously tough, to sign them players. You only if they were happy with an agent. Do you know what I mean?
It's more like if you can build a solid relationship with someone, and like you say, you do right by them.
Go on a journey together as well. Do you know what I mean? Like, obviously, two of the lads that I've got broke through at Fleetwood, the bench, and obviously playing and stuff like that. One of the lads at Bolton was on the bench this last Saturday. Do you know what I mean? So it's good.
Yeah.
Like you say,
but it's a good feeling for yourself as well.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. Like I said, I love the young lads because, like I said, I love the lads that I've got. They've got great things, and like you say, they've got head screwed on. Do you know what I mean? And they want to learn stuff like that, and they're hard workers. Do you know what I mean? And the parents are great. Obviously, that's half the battle as well. Parents obviously thinking that the player's going to be Maradona and Messi and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean?
It's not as simple as that, is it?
Not as simple as. You know what I mean? It's just not as simple as that.
Right, well, let's rewind it a bit. So, Sutton in Ashfield, 1986. That's where you were born?
Yeah.
I was 1985. I've got a year on you, Baps.
Right. We're getting old, aren't we?
Yeah, big 4-0 for you next year. But, so where did football begin for yourself?
So, it began, I'd probably say about 6 or 7. I always had an advantage where I always played above my ages when I was younger.
Yeah.
I was in a team at 6, but it was an under-9s team. But I was never, obviously, I wasn't starting every week or anything like that. But that was the first team. That was the earliest team that it started from. Obviously back in the day. Yeah. So I'd be on the bench and stuff like that, and come on for the last 10 minutes. But I always obviously training and stuff like that, and I was just. Like I said, again, there was no computers and stuff like that. So, PlayStation, there was no, Sega. Obviously, you're a certain age.
Yeah.
So all we had was football, really. Do you know what I mean? And the first team I joined was like under 10s. But again, I was 9. So I was, like I said, I was always with older players.
Okay.
So I got used to that from an early age. And then obviously I quickly stood out as one of the best at the under 10, as I went up the age. Left them at under 12s, under 13s, but I was obviously a year below.
Yeah.
And went to a team that was my age group. Yeah.
And how did that go? Stand out even more?
No, not really, because the team was unbelievable. And luckily enough, I say that, but obviously, someone must have seen something. Yeah. And then, luckily enough, the manager of the team was a scout for Mansfield Town.
Okay.
So it was centre of excellence then. So train Tuesday, train Tuesday, Friday, and then play Sunday. But you could play obviously for your normal team up until under 14s. Yeah, so I only had one season with them. And then it was then I could play for a normal team on a Saturday and then play for Mansfield on the Sunday, which again, I thought was great. And, again, you can't play at a certain age group from what, under 10s or under 11s? You're not allowed to play for your exactly no more. So then went to Mansfield and then, like I said, obviously district and county teams I was in, but it was just always football, like playing 5 games a week and stuff like that. Yeah. Then obviously 15, I got a year before my 16th, a year before year 11, so year 10. They asked me if I wanted a YT. In hindsight, I think they knew that I was getting scouted by other teams.
Right, so they did what they do to try and lock you down quick.
Yeah.
What other teams were other teams knocking around? Were people in touch with you?
Forest and Sheffield United.
Okay.
The problem was in the summer. So this is going into year 11. I did my cartilage obviously like again playing with my mates. I did it. I was in a 5-side tournament, and the prize was 500 quid.
Right. Okay.
100 quid. Yeah. So 25 quid to enter, then 500 quid per for the winners.
Yeah.
So obviously it's getting heated, and obviously flying around, and I did my knee, I did my cartilage. So they kind of signed me on the contract, and I needed an operation. They signed me on the contract saying, "Oh, if you have the operation, you can't leave." Do you know what I mean? Otherwise, you've got to pay X amount of pounds for this operation, and obviously, we didn't have that money to pay if I wanted to, even if I wanted to leave. But then I was out for about 6 months with it, in terms of like the 2 months before it took the majors to actually do the operation. I came back March, and then obviously YT was did my GCSEs, and YT was started in. So I did my GCSEs obviously May, and then July the 1st I was
started.
YT. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So like, again, talk about initiation. So obviously Mansfield, it was brutal.
I was going to say, what league were they in at the time then? So
they got promoted the year 11 I was in, so it was League One. But obviously I was playing with the youth team then, so 16. I was always around, again playing higher, and you hear about the initiations of the lads from the first year's YTs. So first day, obviously I've just left school. First day, right, get naked. So I got naked. Walk into the home change rooms. All the first, obviously, like benches, all the first team lads are there. You walked in, I just got tomatoes thrown at me. Off the back, so naked now, so I'm skinny, obviously, skinny lad here. Like, what's your name? Where you from? I'm Alex. What's your position? Centre half. So obviously then, the defenders just battered you. Do you know what I mean? Just throwing tomatoes, flour, eggs. What are you going to sing? Sing a song. And they had this bench, and they're like, right, shag this bench. So was your technique. So I had to get off a technique. So obviously, get on the bench. Obviously, show shag your technique. I was just obviously laughing and stuff like that.
Right.
You know what I mean? But it was all the YT. So there was 8 of us. Like straight off the bat. And then the third day was you paired up with a YT, the first year YT, the third day. And then if boxing gloves on, right, the first person to draw blood, we're not stopping until you draw blood of, sort of the opponent or whatever. So obviously boxing match. But like I said before, the initiations are brutal, but it's the stuff like that you remember. And like we ended up, we were unbelievable, to be fair. We had a great team. Who's in the trenches with you. And again, people will say, "Oh, that would never happen." It wouldn't. And obviously, you'd get fucking locked up now for that. But fuck me, we had a great team, and like the lads were great. You know what I mean? It was, they were great. And if you didn't do it, you wanted. I know it's going to sound weird, but you wanted to do it because you needed to do it to be part of. Because what I mean?
You want to be part of a team, don't you? And
even the managers and coaches.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you didn't do it, you were fucking. You said
it yourself. You want to know who's in the trenches with you, and if there's someone that ain't doing that, and nowadays, I mean, I'm far from the positions you've been in, but I can only imagine if someone isn't up for doing it, then they're not up for going to war with you. And
you just wouldn't be able to say no. If you'd have said no, you'd have probably got released. I know the manager, the first team would probably just not have you. But obviously completely different now. And do you know what I mean? You just wouldn't be able to ask any lad my age or even older about their initiations. Anyone. It was just part of football. And it's like rugby lads, and it's like army lads. Do you know what I mean? I know they go them rugby lads. They're mental.
They just love it, don't they? They just do weird stuff, don't they? They just get weird.
Stuff that they do, and I ain't even getting involved in that shit. And I don't know how to do it, man. They're fucking animals, but like you just couldn't not do it. One thing I can say about my career is that you knew I was there with you in the trenches. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'd be fucking there with you next year. If we're having a stinker, but we'll be together. Do you know what I mean? I'd never, obviously, shy away from anyone. Do you know what I mean? I've met, no players and played with players that that they're looking out for themselves. Do you know what I mean? There was just none of that, and it was League 1, League 2 club, so you had to have that. It was, like I say, it weren't football today, you had to be, it was elbows and, do you know what I mean? Horrible, horrible pictures and horrible players that you played against. And I'm not the
Definitely
biggest.
in them leagues, for lower leagues, it's...
Yeah, it wasn't like that obviously, like you do under the cosh, John Parkin.
Yeah.
So played against fucking massive. He's built like a door. Do you know what I mean? But you know what he's about, Parky. So, and obviously he was, coming through, and players like that playing to their strengths. So I'm not the biggest, but so I can't let him know. He can't roll up on me. Do you know what I mean? He can't think that he's just going to bully me, because he'll just bully me. You know what I mean? And then I'm not going to get anywhere in my career. So it was just stuff like that toughened you up. And they offered me a pro contract. So Keith Curl was the manager. Again,
Keith Curl, Man City legend.
Yeah, again, like, he took a shine to me straight off the bat. He took me to the gym. So we used to go to like a Fitness First, like a JD gym.
Yeah,
it was just
I remember.
Obviously, we used to get changed at the training at the ground, but he took me to the right. Come on, we're going to the gym, and pull-up bar. I was obviously skinny, and he was like, if you don't do 10 pull-ups, you're not playing in my first team. So I did like 2. I thought he was bantering, and then obviously got off, started laughing, and he went, "Is that all?" He went, "You're a fucking disgrace." And like, sort yourself out. And he was obviously 40. He was like, did about 30, did about 20 just off the back wide ones as well. So I'm obviously on the ones like that.
Maximum advantage, and still can't do it.
If you want to play my first team, fucking do 10. Learn to do 10, and then come and get me. Until then, you're not getting nowhere near it. So I was like, oh my God. Gym, again, it wasn't, lads go to, kids go to the gym now, but nutrition and gym, it wasn't really all that back in the, you know what I mean?
No.
When I was, it was just starting to. It's a League 1, League 2 club. Do you know what I mean? They didn't have the facilities or the food. The food that you had to eat at the sandwich shop. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't obviously again like it is today.
Pasta bars and all that everywhere.
Yeah, and like even like Mansell, like obviously Fleetwood's they're a League 2 club, but the setup's unbelievable. It was nothing like that. You had to eat, and you had to get your own food. And I was unbelievably fit, so I never really looked after myself.
Did you get your 10 pull-ups in? When did you get in then?
Yeah, got them in at November time. Went on loan to Tamworth and Burton. Tamworth was great. Again, rough and ready club. Loved it. Burton, Nigel Clough was here. I really liked him, but it just didn't click. Them two hated each other, and I loved Tamworth. Played against Burton, did really well, scored because I was playing centre midfield then. And then went back to Mansfield, and then Burton, because Tamworth were like struggling to stay up, whereas Burton were like challenging for playoffs. And for some reason, it just didn't click. I just didn't like it there. Then went back, and then the lad they should have been promoted. The like obviously around the playoffs and like in the top 3 all the way through. So I couldn't break through in the first team, even though I knew I was better than all the lads that were there, the centre halves that were there. And then they was going for a really bad run, and then got thrown in at March and just absolutely ripped it up.
Yeah.
If it would have been today, I think I would have moved. The reason why I didn't, because we got to the playoff final that year, my first year.
That was 17.
And I was playing every single week. So I played the semis, played the final, got man of the match in the semis, won a man of the match in one of the semi-finals, got man of the match in the final. The reason why Sky didn't show the games, because obviously now they show every single playoff game and the final game. They didn't show that. They showed the games from the year after.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So they didn't show any games, and obviously like League 2 games like now. It has its own like.
They make a point of broadcasting, don't they?
Make it, yeah. So I think that's the reason why, because I played like 20 games and I was phenomenal. I was 17, I was ripping it up. I was obviously a team that was very successful in terms of like we were winning every week.
You were playing centre half.
Yeah, centre half.
That's what you were saying before. Obviously, you moved into centre mid a little bit, but you predominantly at the start you were centre half all the time. Yeah,
and then we went on a bit of a run, stayed in the playoffs, won the semi-finals, and then played in the final, lost on penalties. We were 0-0 again. Played really well, man of the match, and we lost on penalties. It's the story of my life. I can play off final losses.
But so then you carried on and you stayed there obviously for another 6 seasons at Manchester.
Yeah. So second season, Keith Bill got sacked. I think he was a bit of something happened with him and the chairman. Carlton Palmer came in, really good.
Yeah, great ex-professional.
Not really good, but he was great for me. Made me captain straight off the bat. Maybe the chairman had something to do with that, in terms of selling. And again, so the second season I was captain. He was brilliant for me, absolutely brilliant.
With you being so young and going straight as captain, was there any like animosity from any of your senior teammates and stuff like that, or was it?
I can see that, yeah. Obviously, at the time, you don't realise that, but obviously looking back now, do you know what I mean? Like, the skipper was the goalkeeper, Kevin Pilkington.
So you used to play for Man United.
Yeah, and Pilks, because I couldn't drive, Pilks would pick me up and go, and then take me to training and then drop me off. So then I'm in his car, and obviously Carlton Palmer's coming in, and he's giving me the captain's armband, and I'm like, Pilks, mate, I don't want this. You know what I mean? And he was great. He was unbelievable. He was like, you're going to do great, and, no hard feelings. I was like, Pilks, mate, I ain't fucking asked for this. You know what I mean? I'm just, It's like, he couldn't have been better. Do you know what I mean? He couldn't have been better. He was really good. But like, obviously, I can imagine like the other lads. You know what I mean? Like some of the other older lads and stuff like that. Like, what the fuck's going off here? And then this is another mistake I made throughout my career. So that summer's come. And again, he was great, Carlton Palmer. And this is where, like, a decent agent would have helped.
Yeah.
Because I'd that agent, and I'd now gone with a little agent. Did I have an agent? I did have an agent, yeah. Because I had that agent who fucked me off and fucked me about. Didn't obviously hear from him for 2 years. So I went with a smaller agent, a really small agent. He only had the lads in Mansfield, so he only had me. And then like 4 youth team lads. So Carlton Palmer's come to me in this, like, so I'm in Napa with my mates, and he's rang my mate's phone because one of the lads pushed me, so I lost my phone. So he's put Baps on the phone. So he's gone, Baps, do you want to move? And that was the time I should have moved, really.
Right, okay.
And I shit myself. Do you know what I mean? I was no.
Was there an option or anything? What would have happened if you said?
Sheffield United had come in then.
Okay.
It was nil 1-0. So they came in January. They came in January on the last day. But again, the youth team, a decent agent would have done, you know what I mean? My youth team manager rang me up and said, look, Sheffield United have come in, they've rejected it, but I just thought you should know and tell your agent. So I told my agent, obviously fucking didn't do anything. And then he rang me up when I was in Napa, and I just didn't have the bollocks to say it.
Right.
You know what I mean? I completely shit myself and said, do you want to move? I'm like, no, I'll stay. And he was like, no, right, cool. Whereas I should have fucking moved, man. Because then the last 3 years, just pissed around. It was too easy. Do you know what I mean?
Right, okay. You got to a level and you... Yeah.
My stock was high then, and then the team obviously started going down 15th, 12th or whatever, 15th. I'm, playing every week. I'm captain, but I'm not really. You know what I mean? I'm at that level now where
slowly pulling you down a little bit with him.
Yeah,
kind of.
100%.
When you could have.
Yeah, could have kicked on. Obviously, going out like any young lad does every single week. Do you know what I mean?
Definitely.
So obviously we've got relegated. They need to sell me because I'm one of the highest earners.
Yeah.
And the story is they're at a chairman's convention, and them two are friends, Owen Oyston and Steve Aslam, the Blackpool chairman and the Mansfield chairman. And Owen's gone to Steve, I've got a player for you. Don't know whether he'll make it. But he's got potential. If you throw Peter Ridsdale in the pool, you can have him for 20 grand. So obviously they were half pissed. Owen's thrown Carl Oyston.
Right.
He's thrown fucking Ridsdale in the pool, and Blackpool have signed me for 20 grand.
Really? Is that what it was? Is that what
Yeah,
you
that's
for?
Yeah, I only moved for 20 grand.
Wow.
Yeah, all because he threw him in the pool.
Wow, what a great bit of business for Blackpool, of course.
Yeah,
And for yourself and for a career. So, what did you think of that then? When you were told about Blackpool, did you get told you were going to Blackpool? That's it, or
so summer's come, and you know, obviously,
so this is 2008 now, isn't it?
Yeah. So I had Crewe, and who was the other one? Hartlepool. So League One. No, Hartlepool was League Two, and Crewe was League One. And then I got a phone call off my agent saying, "Oh, Blackpool had just gone up to the Championship."
Right, yeah.
Did
they beat Yeovil? Did they
beat Yeovil? And it was the year they stayed up that year. They just stayed up that year.
I think we stayed up the first year, didn't we?
Yeah. So it was the end of the first year.
Right.
So I got up to Blackpool. Obviously, I had like other clubs, but Hartlepool were paying the most money. Because Danny Wilson was there. I don't know if you know Danny.
Yeah, Danny Wilson was at Barnsley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Went up to there. Durham was really nice. You know, thought I was signing there. And the reason why I chose Blackpool again, I'm 22, and obviously it's a summer. He's told me.
Walk about him around those times, weren't they?
He told me to meet him at 12 o'clock. So come up in my best suit. Right, I can't. I'm not there yet. I meet at 2. This is Carl. I don't think even Simon Grayson knew. I don't. Obviously, he didn't want.
Oh, were you right? So you were signing under Grayson?
Yeah, but I wasn't his signing. Right, definitely wasn't his signing.
Signing of the chairman, just
signing of the chairman. And so I'm walking. So obviously I've got there. Like you said, 2 hours I've got to wait. So I'm like, right, I'll go down the front, just obviously have a walk around. It was belted. It was like today. It was so hot. Yeah. So I'm walking down the front, and all I can see is stag and end parties.
And you're like, this is for me. This.
Like, ran my mates up, said, "Lads, it's only 2 hours from me.
Yeah,
lads, get up here now. We're going out tonight. But this is the club I'm signing for." It was the only reason I signed for Blackpool. Like, the money wasn't as good as Hartlepool. It was because obviously I walked down the front, mate, and it was just packed.
Yeah, it is on a good day, isn't it? To be fair, to give Blackpool summer on a good day, the bank holidays and all that, they can pull it off, can't they?
So I was like, I'm signing there. So I was 1,000% not for Grayson. 1,000%.
When did you figure that out?
Because I stayed. They put all the lads up, all the new signings in Hilton. I stayed where all the youth team lads were in the new writing it was. You know where? What's that? It's on the front. You know that blue? There's a massive blue hotel on the front. I don't know what it's for.
What way towards?
So I'm just along the front, towards, you know where the Manchester is on the corner.
Yeah.
Come back up a little bit, and there's a massive towards the fairground.
Right. Yeah, Pleasure Beach. Yeah, in the middle of it. So in between Central and South Pier.
Yeah, it was where all the youth team lads were staying. So all the like, obviously the best signings that they got, they all put them in the Hilton at the bottom, and then I was with all the youth team lads. So I was obviously I was one of them where to be honest, they didn't think I'd make it. They think I'd go out on loan, and do you know what I mean? And obviously I'd get rid of me in 18 months' time. 1,000%. I knew I could do it though when we was doing some pre-season training in pre-season, and I did something, and the lads were like, "Fuck off! You didn't mean to do that," and I just put it down. Like, yeah, of course I never did, but I did mean to do it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And I was like, I can do this, because obviously you from League 2 relegated.
Yeah.
Everyone would have thought, "Who the fuck's this guy?" Do you know what I mean?
If there's something about you wouldn't be up there for 20 grand, would you?
Exactly.
That's what other people would think, though, wouldn't it? I mean,
yeah, 100%. And like before the Wolves game when I started, a month before, they they wanted. I was going to go out on loan to Rochdale, but I did my hamstring.
Right.
But I tell you, it was great for me, Steve Thompson, because I'd always
Tom, the assistant manager.
Yeah, he was unbelievable. He was like doing the youth team, like first team coach at this point, because obviously Tony Parks was assistant, and it would always come in like I'd always say, "Can I come in Saturday morning?" Do you know what I mean? If I wasn't in the squad, and like we'd just do one. Like he'd take like the injured lads that were coming back. Do you know what I mean? On the Saturday mornings, and I'd always join in with them, and then Grayson obviously started to take a shine to me, and I started obviously coming in on Saturday mornings because I kind of had an idea. Obviously, you kind of have an idea if you're in the squad or not, and obviously the lads were doing well. And then so I came in one morning, obviously Saturday morning, and then he pulled me after the game. It's like, "What the fuck are you doing?" I'm like, "What?" He went, "You came in on Saturday morning. You came in this morning with Tom." I went, "Yeah, I know." When I was going to put you on the bench before, like, don't ever fucking do that again now. So that I'm inching forward now. Do you know what I mean? I'm in his hands. Like,
yes, you're in the back of his mind somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah. So then played Wolves. They won the league that year, but lost 2-0. Did all right. Played Sheffield Wednesday, I think it was.
Was that your first full game, Wolves?
Yeah. Did all right.
Yeah.
It was at Molineux. I fucking hate that ground. Every time I've been there, I've been fucking walloped.
And was that a centre half there?
No, it was right back.
So you at Blackpool, you always started as right?
No, not really. So I played Sheffield Wednesday right back, and then Sean Barker came back in, and then Grayson ended up leaving, and Tony Parks came in, and we went through a stage where like everyone kept getting injured. Like all the centre halves getting one would come back, and then that one would be on the bench, and then one would get injured, and then I was always like the mainstay centre half.
Okay.
Because everyone they just kept. It was weird. Like for about 6 weeks, everyone would get injured at like a certain point. Do you know what I mean? Like, they were coming back and they'd start ahead of me. They'd then get re-injured or something again. Do you know what I mean? And then all of a sudden, me and Eva was out for a while, and me and Sean, Reggie dyed his hair blonde, bleach blonde, and we just struck up this partnership, and like we was brilliant together for what we was, and we played Bristol City and we drew 0-0. This was towards the end of the season, and me and Reggie absolutely owned it, but the manager of Bristol City said, "Oh, we couldn't get past the guy with the bleach blonde hair because he dyed his hair." And and
it stood out
of my own. But the thing was, I was just as good as Reggie that day, but because obviously he's dyed his hair, and then that guy said. So in the summer, I'm thinking he's going to move. I've got a fucking right chance here. Do you know what I mean? Because I was just as good on par with Reggie, and he moved to Derby for like 1 point. But at that time, Blackpool, the lads, because we weren't getting paid by Oyston, a lot, and 90 quid a week in the summer.
How did all that work?
It was horrible. It was brutal.
So when you initially signed, you signed for 20 grand, you signed a contract. Were you on a year by year at the time? Because I heard a lot of the time people were on small rolling contracts and that.
So I signed 2 years with an option. You love the option, fuck me. And then you'd get paid 48 weeks of the year. You'd get paid more than so I was on 1,500 quid a week then. So you get paid 1,500 plus a little bit more. But then for the 8 weeks that you was off, you'd get paid 90 quid a week.
Right.
So obviously you're living like, you don't, again, you're not putting money away. Like,
So for 8 weeks of the year, how did you live, Babs? Pot noodles?
Mate, fucking horrible. Like loaning off family, do you know what I mean? Loaning off my mum, like, fuck it, it was horrendous.
Yeah.
Because you don't do it. You just don't.
No, you don't. You don't.
And again, I'm 23, 24 at this point. So obviously I'm just, you know what I mean? It's just throwing money away. It was brutal. But like I said, that first year, everyone was like, "Oh, so glad for Reggie," but you was jealous of him.
Yeah,
because he's got out, and like Blackpool were the lowest payers. Do you know what I mean? In the Championship by a mile. Obviously, you're playing against guys that are on 30, 40 grand a week. Do you know what I mean? And obviously, Reggie was on. I don't even know, but he must have gone up to 20s, over 20s at Derby. you know what I mean? And obviously you'd have been maybe 3 or 4 here. Do you know what I mean? And then obviously the 90 quid a week, you've got to wash your own kit. You're training at Squires Gate. But there was just so much stuff. The food, again, was, you know what I mean? Again, you're at a championship club, but the standard's not even, the food, it's not even like National League at this point. Do you know what I mean? You're basically, you're going in your kit, you're just going, and then you're going home. You know what I mean? It wasn't, again, it's character building, but, and like, obviously, I've seen lads come and go at Blackpool where they just couldn't fucking handle it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They just couldn't handle is it that Ali Adier? Can you remember him?
Yeah.
Came for like one day and then fucked up. You know, he just couldn't handle it. Do you know what I mean? No, it's just different. It's just different.
Wow, that's a blast from the past, that Ali Adier.
Yeah, so it was, that
if
was...
one day. What did he walk down Central Drive and turn around?
It's like, we've got to wash your own kit. Do you know what I mean? And like I said, we was all jealous of him, and I was devastated because I was just as good as Reggie. That for them, when we played, it was just because he dyed his hair blonde, and the comment that the manager made that he ended up fucking going to Derby. But obviously, again, in hindsight, it was the best thing that happened to me, to the gaffer. Holloway, because Holloway came in that summer.
I was going to say, so you said Tony Parks saw out the rest of the season.
Yeah,
him and Tom.
Yes.
And
him and Tom. So, like I said, Tony, again, it conspired that every time a centre half came, for some reason they'd just get injured again, and we was down to the bare bones. But it was always me as the mainstay, and then someone else would come in, and then Reggie came in, like I said, and then it ended up mainstaying with me because we only had 2 centre halves then, and we just ended up forming a partnership. Like the lads were out till the end of the season. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we just had this partnership we were brilliant together, and I loved playing with him. And then, like I said, I then played maybe 20 games, and I was then part of the furniture. Then, do you know what I mean? I was.
Yeah.
So
solid name on the team sheet, kind of. Right?
Yeah. And then obviously Reggie's left. We used that money to get Chaz. Vorney came in. And Holloway came in.
Where did Holloway come from?
Chaz came at the end of the year, and he was on loan from January. Obviously ripped it up, did really well.
And then they signed him, didn't they? Was that right?
Yeah, but even like Chaz didn't want to stay. Chaz wanted to, you know what I mean? Chaz wanted to play for someone else. You know what I mean? Because he did so well.
Yeah.
And again, he saw it as a stepping stone. Do you know what I mean? And just didn't. No one really at that point before Holloway came in. No one really would stay up. You know, like I said, when Holloway first came in, we was all worried about the staying up bonus. We was all moaning about that.
Oh, not getting paid it?
Well, it's too low.
Oh, okay.
So then, first pre-season game, we're all moaning on the Friday.
Did you even have a promotion bonus in there?
Yeah,
for the next year. Right, all right.
Yeah, so it's 5 months for the Premier League to go up.
Right, okay.
But we was all moaning about the fucking staying up bonus because it was too low. Do you know what I mean, mate? Not even a fucking, not even a no.
No, it's not even in the. It's not even in the conversation, is it?
It's not even in the conversation. So then Holloway's gone like, what the fuck is going off? Why are you all worried about the staying up bonus? And then he just obviously on the board. So we were playing Rochdale away on the board. He's just written 5 million. But that's what you get if you go up. And we was like, fuck off. Obviously, we didn't say it to him, but when he left the room, like, what is he talking about? Do you know what I mean? Even then, there's no chance. Zero chance.
Why do you think that was? Do you think that's because, like you just said, a lot of people saw it as a stepping stone team? Because
obviously, we was the lowest players in the league. We was down to get relegated. So we were the bookies' favourites to get relegated. And everyone, we just lost our centre half and our captain.
Yeah.
Everyone. There was not even
it seemed like the world was against us, but it ended up.
We were playing 4-4-2 under par. I was devastated that Tony Parks didn't get the job because he wanted the job, right. And he was playing me every week, and we was all right. We was adequate. Do you know what I mean? And again, a stepping stone. I know I'm going to play every week.
And you're playing comfortable Championship football, like you're out there to be seen.
And then if I do well this year, then I can go. Do you know what I mean? Like, someone will sign me. Hopefully, someone takes a punt on me.
Yeah.
And then obviously Holloway came in. We started playing this new 4-3-3. He wants to play a little bit out from the back, but I'm hitting all these diags left, right, and centre. He wants me overlapping like the right back sometimes, and you know, it was just.
How did the team? How did you all see this? Like,
so I can remember the first day that we did it. It was pissing down. So we did running in the morning, and then afternoon we wanted us to do this shape, and Gillo's passing. Rachubka's passing me the ball, and Gillo's passing me the ball from the goal kicks. Like, yeah, a bit like today, but it wasn't. We in our Swansea did it well, but Swansea did it as well. But the way he wanted us to do was, I'd never seen it really. It wasn't really done, but now obviously everyone. But they've taken it too far now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you've been doing it in an exciting way, like.
Yeah, so like the first time we did it, it was like, what the fuck is going off here? Because we just couldn't obviously get to grips with it. And then, you know, again, it's just repetition. But like I said, he was great, but he just had that mindset that we're going to get promoted, whereas all the lads were just like, nah, no chance. And he obviously changed the formation. Varney was a left winger, put him into the number 4 role as it is now, and fuck me, he was unbelievable. And then I started off at right back because we signed Erds from, I think it was Oldham, but obviously Oldham were like a League 2 club. Yeah. So for the first 4 games, Rob Edwards played centre half and I was right back. Drew the first 4 games, we signed some other players, and then the first time I thought we were decent, we played Newcastle at home, and obviously they're paying money, you know, 50 grand a week. You know what I mean? They got 1-2-1. I don't even, and like, oh, we're all right, yeah, you know, we're steady away. And then it just obviously snowballed. Then we signed DJ and Seamus, and then fucking did something. It clicked. It was always there or thereabouts, and then it just clicked the last like 10 games, and we just went on a fucking tear up. Yeah. And again, you know, when I like trenches, because all the lads that were there, they all had a point to prove. They'd all been written off. Yeah. They'd all been League 2, League 1 players. And again, you know, when talk about trenches and that, like, fucking hell. Like, even now, you know, like, I still know the format. And he got us playing something like, you know, some mad stuff. And we just.
How long did it take into the season for everyone to start thinking, fucking hell, we could be on
so we talk about it on the bus, like, what we're going to spend our money on that.
Yeah. 5 million's already been waxed.
Yeah. Right. So, like, obviously, you have, like, you see, like, 2 and 2, 2 and 2, 2 and 2, and like, what you buying for? You're like, oh, I'm buying a Ferrari, I'm getting a Bentley, you know what I mean? Like, bantering. But then it just all of a sudden just came, like, loads of things, like, certain songs, we'd have the same routine as certain songs, and, you know, we just, like you say, like, certain things will just always remind me of, like, stuff like that, and, you know, you're washing your kit and you're fucking, it's mad. It was just mental, mate. Yeah. Like, we had to push the bus, fucking the second leg of the Forest game. The bus broke down, so we're walking across the Trent to Forest game. And,
honestly.
Yeah, just like, and
wow.
Like, obviously, you know, like I said, washing the kit and like the food was fucking horrendous, and it just somehow galvanised with all the way obviously at the helm and his positivity, and, you know, there's never any doom and gloom with him, and, you know, we'd throw things out the woodwork.
Some character, wasn't he?
No, he was unbelievable. Like, some game, like, I can remember we played Doncaster and we drew, like, he's having a dance off with the kit man, and he was like, lads, I don't give a shit what the result is. Just go out and entertain me. And he was buzzing with 3-3. Like, you know, and we drew 3-3 that day, but he didn't say a word, do you know what I mean? He's like, love it at half time, and then at the end he was like, fucking love that, you know what I mean? And to everyone, you know, it might have been a bad result, but he just wanted, for that day, for some reason, he wanted to watch decent football, you know what I mean, instead of this boring shit, do you know what I mean? He just, yeah. Like, my uncle, like, was like, he says he loved us because it was the only. He said that it's the only time I've ever seen two centre halves overlapping. Like everyone would go, overlap, and then the ball would recycle to me, and then I'd go, and just like obviously it was just, and then like Vardy's just left on his own, like fucking just shouting at us, but it was just the lads, you know what I mean? The lads were great, and we like I said, he found a style, and obviously we had Chaz, match winner, and stuff like that. DJ, we had some good players.
Even like you Taylor Fletcher's,
Fletcher's class.
Ben Burgess, big Ben Burgess.
Yeah, Ben, class, but like look like again, been not your typical beast footballers. Do you know what I mean in terms of weights and look the part like me? Obviously I'm I'm only 5'11" centre half, whereas obviously Fletcher, look at Fletcher, he might look fucking overweight, but his feet are incredible. Do you know what I mean? It was just weird, mate, how like everything happened, and and then obviously turned out like we turned over Cardiff. And
so when you got into the playoff semi-finals, so you've made it to the playoffs, and I mean, then you're 3 games away from the penultimate.
Obviously Dobbs came in then, and Baz. We played Scunthorpe away after like bank holiday, and it kind of turned then. So we signed Seamus on the Thursday because I think Erd's got injured, and Seamus hadn't really played football ever. He was is it like handball and stuff, Gaelic football?
Yeah.
Mate, he like I've got like if you got the DVD video of like that season, so that's where it all turned because we signed DJ as well.
Yeah,
D scored 2. And we was miles behind everyone. But like next thing, Seamus has turned up and fucking ripped it up from right back. He was unbelievable. If he wouldn't have got injured, he'd have been like one of the best right backs the Premier League's ever seen because he was that good.
He shows from his career as well, doesn't he? He's got a hell of a lot of respect from a lot of big names for what he's done.
He had a really bad break, didn't he? But like obviously, man, you wanted him. He was unbelievable. He was a massive, massive part of us getting promoted. But yeah, so for the last 10 games, we conceded first every game. Again, and that mentality that even that semi-finals we conceded first. The final we conceded first, and then obviously went 2-1 down.
Yeah.
Don Goodman says a great thing. When he were 2-1 down, he says, "Don't write these. I don't think it's over yet. Don't write these guys out." Do you know what I mean? Because again, came back and mentality again. What I'm on, So yeah, played Scunthorpe, and then like I said, we went 1-0 down, 2-1 down. I think 1-4-2. Like for the last 10 games of that season, we go a goal down and then just fucking tear it off.
Yeah.
Gaffer would say, "Oh, you need to just kick the ball in the net, at the kickoff, and then just start the game." So then obviously semi-finals come. We played Forest for like about 6 games left, beat them 3-1, and Billy Davis was on the sideline saying, fucking buzzing you won. We'll get you in the semi. Do you know what I mean? We want you in the semi.
Trying to write you off straight away.
So obviously we got through on the last game of the season, drew 1-1, and Swansea didn't win. So got through on the last game of the season. Played Forest at home, 1-2-1, and he's on the sideline. Fucking love that. We'll beat you at home because we was the only team to beat Forest at home that year. And they'd obviously battered everyone.
Yeah.
And what they did, they booked the hotels in London, and they all had the suit measurements, fittings before the second semi-final.
And the DJ popped up with a hat trick. Was that
DJ went 1-0 down? Mate, if you watch that game, that's the worst game I've ever played in my life. I had an absolute stinker, and I'm from that Nottingham area. So their fans are a bit arrogant in terms of if they're doing well, you'll know about it.
Who was your team? Who were you a fan of growing up?
So I was a fan of Forest. I always wanted to play. And then I was Newcastle when the Ginola and all that.
Yeah.
So obviously when I went back home, and we just used to, my mates just used to hang around the bookies and stuff, just doing it. And then for fucking all I heard, mate, was we're going to batter you. Like I said, they were really formidable at home. We were the only team that beat them. We beat them at home, beat them away, beat them at home, beat them in the playoff semi-final, the first leg, And like I said, they booked all their hotels and they did all the suit fittings. So we've got down there, and it's the best atmosphere and game I've ever been a part of. Like when they scored that first goal for me, it was unbelievable. You know, with the singing, "You've lost that loving feeling," you know, before the game.
Yeah.
And oh my God. And then obviously the lads really helped me out because I had a stinker, mate. I had a fucking beast. And obviously, you know, like I said, the best game I've been a part of, but again, the worst game I've ever been a part of in terms of personally. So won them, and we're going fucking mad in the change rooms, you know, because obviously we know what they've done. He's been on the sideline twice, and we're fucking going mad in the fucking away change room.
Bet you are.
You know, it's just going mad, mad. And like obviously, I've pulled Tomo and says, "Oh." Because Tomo could see, you know, me and him have got a great relationship, and obviously, I was like, mate, I'll be better in the final. I promise you, I'll be better in the final. Like, mate, I don't think you're going to be in the fucking squad after that. You know what I mean? Just
yeah.
But like, obviously, like I love. Obviously, it was great. I'd love to have been like my family. Do you know what I mean? Because that game, mate, fucking, it's class. It's a class. Got on the bus, obviously drinking all the way. Because we're just normal League One, League Two lads.
That's it.
Drinking all the way, got to the casino, stayed up all through the night, drinking all through the day, or you know, the next day, because we had like 10 days to recover.
How did preparation go for Cardiff? What did Holloway have you doing then? Like,
so we went down like 2 days before.
Yeah.
So we go down the Thursday after training. Go around obviously Wembley on the Friday, then obviously just played and you know, like I said, 1-0 down again, came back, Chad's obviously free kick, 2-1 down, 2-2, obviously Brett scored, and then just hung on, mate. It was the hottest day in the world.
Yeah, it was a lovely day. I was at Uncle Tom's cabin on the front. There was load of us there. And it was class. It was rammed. It was on the big screen, and
was it?
Yeah, my mum and my cousin and they'd all gone down to Wembley. Like loads of my family were down there. But yeah, it was an unbelievable game just for Blackpool, weren't it? That game.
Yeah. And we just obviously hung on for dear life in the second half. Got a bit of luck. It's things like that. Like obviously, like I said, you know, when obviously we were talking about it before, like about football. Like I don't really watch it apart from the lads that I've got, and I don't like speaking about it because you then it's the best time of your life, and you reminisce. You think, "Fuck me, what a time that!" You know, what I mean, what a time to be alive. And then you know that personal, obviously your kids and you know what they do is going to be great, but that personal feeling,
achievement,
you'll never ever get close, not even the sniff of it. Do you know what I mean? And it's gone now forever. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, you know, you're grateful you had it, but then you're like, fuck it now. What a time that was. Do you know what I mean?
The ultimate high, I suppose.
So then like, and like obviously that, like my grandparents have passed away, you know, my uncle and stuff like that, and like seeing the journey that I've been on and stuff like that, and then obviously realising that you're now a Premier League player, and you know, fuck me. And like I said, them 8 days, mate. Just went. Oh, mate, fucking steaming. Every single day, like Saturday night, Sunday, we had open top bus, I think it was on the Monday. So met the mayor and stuff like that. Obviously went out to walk about. But
was Syndicate still open then? I can't even remember.
No, I don't.
No, Sanuk would have been, wouldn't it? I think Sanuk was the place, was it?
Yeah, Sanuk. But obviously, then went to Vegas, but I'm on 90 quid a week at this point. So
because it's your 8 weeks.
So I'm a Premier League player, mate, and I'm on 90 quid a week.
That's mental.
So we're in Vegas, right? So it was Rob Edwards, his best friends with Jolie and Lescott, and it was his stag do. But there was only like 6 of us that went because obviously Blackpool didn't put any fucking thing on for going up. You know, but we got obviously the 5 million quid, but we hadn't got this at this point.
Yeah.
So we're all in Vegas. So there's about 6 of us. So obviously Jolien's at Man City just won the league Premiership, and he's got the best. Obviously he's got the he's on ridiculous amounts of money, and we're trying to get onto his coattails. Yeah. So he's like, so DJ's going, oh, please welcome Jolien Lescott and the Blackpool winners, playoff winners, championship winners. And as we walk, obviously, we got a table right on the dance floor. So the spotlights have come on the table.
Yeah.
So we're all walking through, mate. In the corner, we can see the Forest boys.
Honestly, you're joking.
Mate. And mate, I'll never think. Honestly, their faces like we're just walking like. Right, and then all of a sudden, can you remember that song? All I do is win.
Yeah, no matter what.
It's come on, mate. We just got
Hey! You
like
have.
champagne like bouncing around, mate. Their heads must have fallen clean off.
Hey,
oh, mate, unbelievable. So obviously Vegas is, Vegas. I'm 2 days in, and Jolene's gone. Oh, we're all wearing suits for the third night. Look the part. So I'm like, fucking, I ain't bought a suit. I need to go get a suit. So I've been to a pool party in the day, absolutely steaming. And I had like I said, like Mansell lad, Ollerton, this little village. I knew Burton and Next in terms of suits. That was it.
Yeah.
So obviously, I'm very naive and didn't obviously, you know what I mean? I knew my clobber, but I had no idea about suit. So walking obviously in Vegas, and walked into this shop. Woman's gone, American woman. I'm like in a shirt that's open, fucking shorts, flip flops, like me to board, absolutely steaming. She's gone, oh, you English? I'm thinking, oh yeah, I'm in it. I was single at this point. Oh yeah, I'm fucking yeah. She's like, oh my god, I love your accent and all that. What suit do you want to wear? What suit do you? We need a suit. Got fitted up, like, do you want some champagne? I'm like, yeah. She's like, obviously, she's like getting her friends, the other assistants, come and speak to these guys. They're amazing, English guys. So
they're
amazing,
obviously
talking to them. Yeah. So she says, come back the next day, because that's the night. So I was like, yeah, come back the next day. So come back the next day. She's like, get fitted for this suit. She's like, oh my gosh, you're so beautiful. You look amazing in the suit. And she's like, oh, where are you going tonight? I was like, oh, we're going to this club. Come and find, come with us. We got, great. Come and see us and stuff like that. She's like, yeah, I'll come with you. Come with all my girlfriends and stuff like that. So I'm like, yeah, I'm buying this suit. So get to the cash machine, get to the checkout. She's like, right, that'll be $5,000, please. I was like, what? Like, it was a Tom Ford suit.
Yeah. No
right,
way.
So $5,000, mate. I was like, oh my fucking god, what have I done here? Paid it. Mate, I was like, I've run out of money. I had to ring my mum.
Sure.
I had to ring my mum and say, Mum, can you loan me some money? Put some money in my bank. And when I get my bonus, I'll give you the money back.
You're a Premiership player borrowing money off your mum in Vegas.
No, I'm on £90 a week. And I'm borrowing money. I'm loaning money off my mum because I'm in Vegas. Mate, I was
buying £5,000 suits.
Buying £5,000 suit. Mate, I've got the suit in my upstairs. I've never wore it since. I've wore it once, and that was that night. So obviously we're on this table. Tables, like, it was the biggest night. It was a Saturday night. Tables like fucking $25,000. So we spent, obviously everyone's chipped in.
Yeah.
So this suit, mate, I'm like, obviously, like, even I've got the nod off Johnny Les got this Tom Ford suit, you know what I mean? He looks the fucking bollocks. So on this table next to us, Chuck Lesnar and Paris Hilton.
Really?
And on the right of us, who was there? It was like some like famous pop star. I can't remember. It might have been the Backstreet Boys.
Yeah.
So like, oh my gosh, this is going to be an unbelievable night, right? So obviously I'm steaming. So I'm like, right, I'm going for a piss. Come back to the table, no one's there. We only just got in there 5 minutes. I'm like, where's everyone? So bouncer's gone like, can you come with me, please? Like, yeah. Is everything all right? He said, just walk with me. Obviously, they're fucking massive compared to me. So I walked out. Obviously, all the lads are there. Like, what's going off? Like, oh, one of the lads has chucked an ice cube at, Chuck Liddell, the MMA fight.
Yeah.
He was going out with Paris Hilton at the time. Chucked an ice cube at him. He wanted to kill everyone. So we've all got chucked at. Mate, I was in there 5 minutes. Walked home.
5 minutes in your $5,000 suit.
Them girls are in the queue like, Alex, where are you going? I was like, I'll be back in a minute. Mate. I was like, oh, what? So I wore it for 5 minutes, the suit. And it's still upstairs now.
£1 a minute.
So it comes up to the Premiership season.
First game of the Premiership, you scored in the opening game.
Yeah. So, but we had obviously nightmares with the bonus. So the first day of pre-season, because obviously we know what Carl was like and what Blackpool was like. Been on 90 quid a week through the summer. You've seen that it was the Euros then as well. So obviously people are signing players for like 40, 50 million. Like, I'm going to play against them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Next season. And so first day pre-season, we get there. Where's our bonus? Apparently, Carl's going to put it in some ISA or something, so you're not getting your bonus. So we went on strike because Gaffer wasn't there. We went on strike the first day of pre-season. Tomo was taking it. It was like, no, we're not running. So we sort this fucking bonus out. You know what I mean? Definitely. Everyone's on their arse. Obviously, like wives. You know what I mean? Like we're in the Premiership play. You know what I mean? Everyone thinks you're on ridiculous. We've been on 90 quid a week. I was, I loaned money off my mum to get through the fucking summer. Do you know what I mean? Like, what is going on? Because obviously we didn't get. I was lucky. I got like I got a new contract at this point, and I got like my contract went up 100% in terms of like my wages. Yeah. But obviously they didn't kick in till the end of July.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? So, but like a lot of lads didn't. So they were obviously after new contracts because we were still on like we was on like $2,000, $3,000 a week. I know it's a ridiculous amount of money, but for we're in
yeah, when you're talking Premier League footballers, that's like
$200,000 a week.
Yeah,
and 150, $100,000 a week, and we're
single figures. Yeah. Nice. Yeah.
What's going on? And then obviously on top of that, what we've earned and what we never thought we'd get, 5 million quid between us, we're not going to get it.
They're holding it off you.
They're holding it off us. So mate, the lads were like, no, we're not running. We're down tools. All in Bloomfield Road, like in the reception bit.
Yeah.
So like 20 or 25 of us. No, it was only like 15 of us because we didn't sign anyone till near the end of near the Wigan game. So we're all like, what the fuck's going off here? We're not playing or not training until we're not running until we get an answer with this bonus. So then the second day, obviously, we've had a massive meeting. Gaffer came up the second day and he was absolutely, obviously, going off. But it was just, again, we're washing our own kit. We're in the Premiership. Do you know what I mean? The only time I felt like a Premiership player was when at Wigan, the first day of the season, I seen the Premiership arm, with the Premiership tag on the arm. On the arm. That's the only time I ever felt like, that's the first time I felt like a Premiership player. Because it was the 5 to 6 weeks before, we were an absolute shit show.
Wow.
You know what I mean? We signed Caffers, Marlon, Elliot, Ludo. We didn't sign anyone.
Did you sign Lawar?
He was the year after. So we signed all these the Tuesday before the Wigan game. Because we was like, we're going to sign them.
Literally the week of the game?
Yeah. Because we knew, we had 14 players that was maybe 13 players, 14 players that was Premiership level. Do you know what I mean? That could do what we could do.
Yeah.
And then obviously,
did any bids come in for yous? Any of yous through that pre-season? Were yous getting promoted into the Premiership?
No.
Or was everybody just happy like that you're in the Premiership?
Yeah.
So everyone, it had gone from being the stepping stone to all of a sudden everyone was happy we're in the Prem for a year, kind of stick together.
Be in the Prem for a year, stick it out and leave. Again, that was that mentality. Yeah. Do well. It's a
shot window, isn't it?
Shot window. That was it. I mean, the biggest league in the world, do as best you can and then again leave.
Yeah.
And then obviously, like I said, they came in on Tuesday. We did the shape Thursday, Friday, and then somehow rolled up on Wigan and turned them over.
What happened there? Top of the Premier League, 4-0 away from home, first game of the season.
They had a winger. Was it Nzogbe? I think
Nzogbe did play for him, yeah.
And I'm playing right back again. Caffers came in. And I got shoved to right back again, and I fucking mullered him first 2 minutes. And for me personally, I was like walking out, I'm crying my eyes out. I've like got tears coming because obviously I'm a Premiership player here.
Premiership football.
Premiership level player. so obviously you're nervous as hell, red hot, and then first 2 minutes, I've absolutely cleaned him out. Fair tackle.
Yeah.
I've gone, that's it. That's me now. I'm fucking, you know what I mean? I'm good to go. I know I can do this.
First blood, boom.
But yeah.
First blood baps. Let's
then
go.
Marlon's obviously did all, like, we've held them a bit, and then next thing, we just turned it on, mate, and just absolutely mullered them. Bang, bang, 2 goals. Elliot and Marlon played. Elliot was fucking unplayable that day. Fletch scored. And then I've got one at the end, obviously a cross, but 4-0. My uncle and my cousins obviously in the stadium, and then just got absolutely steaming that night. So I've gone back to Mansfield, got absolutely carried.
Had you sorted the bonus out by then? Because now you're walking back to Bloomfield Road, top of the Premier League, aren't you?
So I think it got sorted out. I'm sure it got sorted out the Wednesday.
Right, so yeah.
So signed them on the Tuesday, because he was waiting for the first Premiership payment to land to give us our bonus. So I think it got sorted out the Wednesday, because we all had to meet down there, sign a bit of paper, and then obviously the bonus came in, which was fucking unbelievable. And then I was on the back of the news. Can you remember the News of the World?
Yeah.
So I woke up obviously half cut, and my mum was just going like threw the paper at me, like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, getting steaming. You're on the back of the news.
Yeah.
So then, played the first, obviously beat them, played Arsenal, got absolutely battered.
Was that 6-0 or something?
6-0. Theo Walcott scored an hat-trick, and Evo got sent off in the first half. We're 3-0 down. So Marlon's come in like, what the fuck are we doing this in us? We can beat these, right? We're 3-0 down to Arsenal. I think they finished second. We're down to 10 men. Cranes has gone, you fucking what?
Jesus.
Mate, nah. We're thinking, if this ain't 10, we've done well.
How did you all feel like them being in the Prem? You feel like you were giving it? Because you did give it a good shot. I've got some of the scores here. So for instance,
we should have stayed up.
You should on 39 points. You and Birmingham on 39. Wolves on 40. Man United are only on 38 now.
I think, what is it? It's got to be one of the highest that's ever gone down.
Yeah, I think yes.
Because it's only 40 points, isn't it?
Yeah, they always say 40 points keeps you up.
Mate, them 2 years.
You beat Liverpool both times.
We was eighth. We was eighth after we beat Liverpool at home, right? And the next day, Gaffer came in and was talking about Europa League football.
Yeah.
We're going to do Europa League. And then, mate, we just went on the biggest fucking fell off a cliff ever. So we was talking about Europa League football. And then we should have stayed up. The amount of points we lost in them 10 minutes, that last 10 minutes. Again, Gaffer was brilliant for how he wanted us to play, but we were so cavalier, mate. And we couldn't shut up shop to save our lives.
5-3 away at Everton.
Again, 3-4. We should have beat Everton at home. We conceded in the last minute. There was Blackburn conceded in the last minute. We should have signed a keeper. Gillo was unbelievable that year, and then he got injured, and we had Richard Kingston and just.
Oh yeah, I remember him. Yeah.
And the keeper. There's a great story that the Matt Williams was the guy that did obviously all the signings and stuff like that. And Shay Given was at Man City then in January. He was like, "Oh, can we get Shay Given on loan?" It's like, how much can you pay towards his wages?
Yeah. And
this is what Matt's told obviously the lads a story.
90 quid.
Right. Man City have gone, well, he's on 85 grand a week, right? And Matt's gone, we can give you 2 towards his wages.
No, honestly, is that a fact?
Give you 2 towards the wages.
Wow. That is bonkers, isn't it? No way. I remember being I was at a couple of games myself. I was at both the Newcastle games. It was 1-1 at Bloomfield. Yeah. Lovenkrands scored the equaliser. Yeah. I think he just went 1-0.
Mate, we lost so much, like I said, for points from winning positions. The last 10 minutes, we'd have stayed up by a country mile. The biggest one was Tottenham, the third to last game. No, yeah, the third to last game of the season. Winning 1-0, and the foe scored a screamer in the last minute, and that absolutely killed us. Absolutely, because the last game was then United, and
you went up. Charlie scored a penalty, didn't he?
We went 2-1 up, I think, as well. They were in the They won the league. And they were in the Champions League final. So that goes to show how good they were. It was the team that played
Barcelona.
Yeah, and they hadn't lost at home, and we needed a win we needed to win. But
tipping up at Old Trafford on that for not my game of the season. It's like,
but mate, it should have ended a long, long time. How we went down that season. Again, it's like with the playoff final, how we lost that final. As much as I love my time at Blackpool, these lows, especially that playoff final, they're so far ahead of the highs because that is what was the day that we died. The club died because he had no choice. Then he had to pay the lads. Had to pay the lads that money because all the contracts was up in terms of like my wages doubled again. So I was on really good money then. You know, it's not really good for Premiership in terms of Championship standard.
Yeah.
The signings you'd have to pay another £5 million for going up. It just completely would have changed. Whereas he got away with it again in terms of like he didn't have to pay the lads that money. Yeah. We signed Incy and Matty. Incy was nothing, but was unbelievable. Matty was nothing, was unbelievable. He could throw that one. He always used to throw that one about me. I signed that at Baptiste. I was then near enough captain because obviously Barry Ferguson was there, but I was near enough captain. I signed him for 20 grand. Why am I gonna? And I'm paying him this. Why am I gonna? He's better than you. Why am I going to pay you that? And, you know, sign him for that. Do you know what I mean?
Who was having these arguments? Was it the chairman himself, Carl, and that? Or Carl?
Carl was having it with obviously the gaffer, and then the gaffer's head just went. Do you know what I mean? In terms of that, he had enough fighting, and he earned enough credit in terms of what he done with us and the way we played and stuff like that. And he just had enough, and the lads had enough. The lads had enough by then. Do you know what I mean? It was great. And then, like I said, we went from that mentality where we was wanting to leave where we didn't want to leave. It was our club, do you know what I mean? And we absolutely loved the club. And
fighting for each other. And then
fighting for each other. Lads that came in, if we didn't like him, obviously we're still washing our own kit. But if you didn't abide by this and play, you know what I mean, then you were fucking out the door. Do you know what I mean? Lads, there was no big time lads or anything. Do you know what I mean? All the lads were great. That team was actually better than the one that got promoted. We had Incy was unbelievable that year. He was the best player outside the Prem by a mile. And if we'd have gone up, I always say this: Matty and Incy would have definitely played for England if we'd have gone up, 1000%.
He had an unfortunate. I don't say unfortunate career, but it was tipped to go a lot bigger than it did. If that's right, what I'm saying. He would have
played for England 1000% because he was that. Obviously, he's nowhere near in comparison to Salah, but everyone was then starting to play 4-3-3.
Yeah.
And what we had that everyone didn't have, we had a left footer that was on that right hand side that was unbelievable. Everyone had the right footed left winger.
Yeah.
We had both. We had the right footed left winger and the left footed right winger.
Yeah.
And that left footed right winger, left footers always look better. Do you know what I mean? They just look the part. You know, they look like, you know. And he was the part. He got about 20 goals. He was fucking unbelievable that year. And he did definitely play for England. Him and Matty always said it. And we should have gone up. If you watch the game, we batter West Ham. And again, it's
Baz Tay scores later on, doesn't he?
87th.
Remember, it was off a corner.
In my apex then, I'm fucking good then. Do you know what I mean? That was my best year, and I slipped in that game. Obviously they go 1-0 up. Matty should have got. We should have got someone sent off. Matty should have got someone sent off. We hit the post. Incy scores, and I'll never forget. Fergie turns around to me and goes in front of all their lads. These are fucking gone. These are shit. They've gone, and absolutely crumbled. You could just see it in the face.
Yeah.
And Ludo came on and was just ripping. He was class, mate. Like with his, feet, obviously Barcelona. You know what I mean? Just tiki taka, just owned it. And then, that again, and I don't like talking about football.
Yeah, this is
broke my heart because I knew.
Because you knew where you'd been 2 years before as well, but ultimate high as well.
I knew that because obviously we lost Varney, we lost Chaz. The team was better, but I knew he just wouldn't pay the money for lads. We needed reinforcements then. He just wouldn't do it because of obviously the success from, and a lot of luck with the recruitment of like Matty, Incy, me. Cranes was a free. Urge was nothing. Evo was nothing. Gillo was a free.
Cathcart, where did he?
Angel Caffers was a free. Luar, he was a free. Do you know what I mean? So we needed reinforcements. Fletch was a free. And that's another thing. Fletch got injured the 2 days before, and if he'd have played, we'd have won 1,000%.
Mad.
1,000. It was just. And like I said, I cried my eye, got into the change because I loved the club then. I absolutely loved it. And I knew it was over because I just knew that he wouldn't pay. Obviously, at this point, Incy's on like, I don't know, $1,000 a week. Do you know what I mean? But he just wouldn't, he then wouldn't pay the lads. And the lads were getting older. So we needed reinforcements. And we first 3 games battered everyone. Looked like we're going to go up. We're all sat around, obviously, watching the last transfer window because obviously we lost Varney. We should have signed Jamie Vardy. Should have signed him. Again, he wouldn't pay the £1 million to Fleetwood. Gaffer wanted him. Obviously, we played Fleetwood in the FA Cup and he did really well. We should have signed him. Went to Leicester, obviously, the rest is history, but fuck me. Should have signed him.
Imagine.
It's mental, mate. Honestly, it's mental.
Do you all like, as a team, it's interesting to know as a professional. So you watch like the transfer window and you actually waiting for shit to happen yourselves. Like
we signed some players because we were top of the league. We played Leicester the day after on Sky. We're top of the league. We've absolutely beat we're fucking unbelievable at this point. But we need reinforcements. You know what I mean? It's a slog, that championship. It's a fucking grind, and we need players. And obviously, DJ did really well. We lost. Did he go back?
I think
he went back.
QPR.
Yeah. And waiting for DJ, waiting for Luke Varney, waiting on all these lads, and then no one comes, and then we're like, oh my God, because we know it's a long way till January.
Yeah, definitely.
And then we just obviously went off the boil, just finished I think we only finished 11th, 12th, something like that. But the gaffer obviously saw his head, lost his head, and because he knew we needed players.
And was this the final year of your contract as well then?
No, so was it the final year? Yeah, it was. So again, if I'd have gone up, I was on ridiculous money. I'd have got another £5 million. I was captain at this point, and it was my final year. So I was like, oh my gosh, you know what I mean? Selfishly, and then I'm a Premiership player, so I played in the Prem, but I wouldn't class. You need them 2 years, you know what I mean? And I wouldn't. I'm like, fuck it. I knew we had a great side, so and I knew that we'd sign players then on decent money because everyone's on decent money. So because you can't then not because of obviously he's got another 90 million in the bank. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he just fucking killed us. Just at that final, mate. It's up there with it's probably the worst moment of my career.
So basically, it was Blackpool. It was self-destruct button from internal.
Yeah, from above, because no one wanted to leave. But when you're on £90 a week still, and still washing your kit, and you've been a Premiership player, and
so even after the Premiership, it was still in that then 8 weeks you're on. That's class.
And I knew the best thing about my football career is that I know for 3-4 years, I know that when I lined up in the tunnel, people are looking at me going, "He's fucking good, and these are good." Do you know what I mean? And anyone in the league, so even whoever was winning the league, Man U, we played them drew 3-3, should have won that game. We were 3-0 up, weren't we? And then ended up drawing 3-0 again, point. And we'd taken them 4-2, was up winning 2-1, and they got to the Champions League final. So that's the best moment of my career that I know that people were talking about me. You know, when the way we used to talk about teams, like say when we finished 16th or when we was getting promoted, we'd talk about like we got these next week. Like, fuck it,
yeah,
we're gonna lose this game. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, people are thinking that now, lining up against. It's like, no, it's not going to be an easy. It's not going to be an easy graft.
Yeah, I knew that these players would do anything to trade places with me in terms of like the team I was playing, or like fucking, I'd love to be in. Do you know what I mean? I love to play like he plays. Do you know what I mean? I love to play how they play. That's the best thing I can say about my career. Anyone in the league feared me. You know what I mean? Feared us as a team, not me. But any striker, I could go toe to toe with any striker in the world. The best league in the world on it at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So,
who was the best in the Premier League? Who was the best player you ever came up against?
So I know this man, Louis Sahar.
Yeah.
So Everton.
Where was he? Everton at the time. Yeah.
Yeah. If he wouldn't have got, if again injuries killed him, because Man U signed him. Didn't
he did well at Man United for a while.
He was unbelievable, mate. Unbelievable. Yeah. Nani was class. Obviously, Gerrard, Torres's.
Here's one then, perhaps. Who was the one player you were in awe of that you played and you were like, fucking hell, I'm on a pitch with him? There's got to be someone that you were like, you grew up like, you must have been on there thinking, he's actually on the same football pitch as me. Did anything ever?
Probably the centre halves. I always loved William Gallas because of his versatility. You know, he wasn't the biggest, and he could play right back, left back. And when he was at Chelsea, he played right back, owned it, left back, owned it. And it was kind of a bit like me in terms of like, I was always, I wasn't like your Terrys or your Ferdinands, where I was just the centre half. You know what I mean? So, and obviously, you've got your Rio Ferdinand and your Terry, and they make it. The thing about playing in the Premier is that I was an unbelievable Championship player. And at my apex, I was probably a bottom 5 Premiership player.
Yeah.
Then the thing about it humbles you, because you realise that no matter how good you are, you're never going to be as good as these players. Like your Ferdinand, your Terrys, you're just not. It's just in their genes,
Is it different levels? Is it that?
It's just different levels, yeah.
It's just like, because when you're a Premiership football, I mean, it's like you say, it's what kids dream of, but then you're there thinking, I'm there, but these are still there. Is that?
They're still miles away. But you're just never going to get there. You're just never going to get there, like genetically. Can you remember like Dimitar Berbatov? He looks he's absolutely
technical, he's technically one of the best players I've ever seen as well. And
he's rapid though. He's so quick. And I was quick. He was as quick as me, quicker than me. It's just different. It's just like you say, it's there, and then you get to there, but then you're still a million miles away. You're still a million miles away. You know what I mean? It's like obviously your golfers. You like the players like between 150, they're unbelievable. To get to Rory and
top 5, top 10, yeah.
He's just nowhere near it.
In the Everton area, yeah.
Just nowhere near it. And you're just never going to be. I don't know what it is. It would just make it look easy, and you know what I mean. You're like fucking.
You're leaving Blackpool. Your career is ending there. Your contract's up, and you signed for Bolton.
Yeah, what a fucking disaster that was.
But was it? What?
Yeah. So what happened was, I had an absolute again.
What were your options when you come out of contract? Then what were your options?
The worst decision in my career, by a country mile. What happened was to go back to Blackpool's thing. So 5 years, I've done unbelievable. I'm captain at this point. Paul Ince has come in, and he sat me down at the end of the year, and he's gone, Baps, and me a letter, and he's gone, I'm really sorry about this. So I handed me the letter. I'm only 26, 27, so I'm in my apex now. You know what I mean? Yeah. Looked at the letter, what they offered me. There was Sunderland and I think it was Sheffield United in League One at the time. They offered me more than what Blackpool did in the Championship after obviously 5 years being captain. They offered me more. They offered me more than what they did. And he offered me a year, 1 year with an option. Whereas they offered, I'm only 27, 26, 27. They offered
everything that you've just been through with the club, and you're offered 1 year on.
I was offered 1 year, and I was offered more from League One, from League One clubs. Mate. Like I had Hull that had just gone up, and what I should have done, and obviously I could have picked my Leicester. Obviously that they get promoted, then win the league, you know. So I had Leicester. I should have gone. I could have gone to them. My biggest one though was Holloway was at Crystal Palace.
Right.
I signed before the playoff final, so obviously I knew that they wanted to sign me. They was playing Watford, and it was obviously hit and miss whether they'd go up. And obviously, I'm still stung by the fucking playoff semi-final. And a combination of things anyway was like I needed to sign before the final, the playoff final. Yeah. Obviously, that's a great thing, and Palace go up. But the day after their playoff final, so they won 1-0. The day after, the chairman's rang me up and gone, "We want to offer you X amount of pounds, ridiculous amount of money, back in the Premiership, living in London." I was like, "I've already signed for Bolton," and I tried my hardest to get out of that contract, you know, to void it or something. I don't know why I signed the contract before the playoff final. Maybe because Bolton was saying that we're not going to offer you the deal if you don't, and we're going to move on. I fucking should have just not signed.
Was something keeping you in the Northwest, or was there anything particular?
Not really. They finished 8th. They were like the highest paid player there was on 45 grand a week at Bolton.
Right.
In the Championship, they were paying obviously ridiculous amounts of money. So it was an unbelievable contract. They were touted. They just signed. They had the Crystal Palace chairman, Crystal Palace manager, Dougie Freeman. So Palace obviously were top of the league. He's gone to Bolton because obviously he thinks it is a bigger club, and Holloway's gone in there halfway through the season.
Right.
So they're touted as the next best thing. They bought Beckford for like £3 million, Jay Spearing for like £4 million. Yeah. They're spending pure money. They're the highest payers in the Championship by a country mile.
To try and push right on to get promotion again.
Get promoted. They finished 8th, where there was like 15th, and then obviously they've gone on a series. So the club's obviously on a high, and they were obviously favourites to go up. That's the way we looked at it. I obviously I should have waited, but it's the worst obviously decision that I ever made in terms of that, and then just had an absolute shit show of a year.
And then you went on loan the next year.
Yeah, went alone. Fell out of love with football completely. Got treated like shit, to be honest. There's a lot of things that happened, personal things. And then Gary Bowyer basically, you know, brought me in. He didn't play me centre half at all the whole year. I played left back the whole year. It was just like my family, like my granddad died suddenly, and I just went off the rails a little bit in terms of that, and like it just affected my football career. Yeah, my football period at the time. I hated the place, Bolton. You know, when I was on about like mentality and like lads that looking after each other, they was just all obviously looking after themselves, and there was no togetherness.
Yes, you've just left like such a close knit group at Blackpool, and then you just like
hate
every man for himself.
Yeah, they were awful, mate. Awful. You know, like obviously they were all on ridiculous amounts of money, but there was just no togetherness at all. Lads talking behind lads' back, and lads were going to the manager, and do you know what I mean, saying stuff about certain lads, and it was just it was a horrendous place to be at. And like I said, I didn't play centre half the whole year. Played left back because I got injured, and then really bad injury, then ended up doing really well at left back, then played left back the whole year. So come back pre-season, I got arrested. Come back pre-season, it's all came out in the papers and stuff like that. I've had a beast of a year now. I did all right at the beginning, playing right back, and then I played left back, mate, and then that was it. When my granddad died, between March and the end of the season was just a shit show. Getting clapped off when I gave 3 penalties away in a row.
Really?
The third one I got clapped off, and but there was no like backing from the manager. Do you know what I mean? Because he was just out for his own. Again, he's just trying to save his own skin because we were fucking crap. It was awful. Lads were awful. And then went to confidence was down on the floor. And then went to Gary Bowie. Went to Blackburn, and Gary Bowie said, "I'll play centre half." And the first game I played centre half there, got man of the match.
Yeah.
And like
you played the majority of that season, didn't you? As well?
Yeah, loved it. He messaged me. I'll never forget. He messaged me the night of the game because we was on Sky the Friday.
Right.
I got man of the match, and like no manager had ever done this in my whole career. He messaged me like saying, "Well played. I thought you were unbelievable," and I started crying because I was like, "Oh my god!" Like he's taking the time out of his night. You know what I mean? You know, like
yeah.
I was like, and like I'm actually enjoying my football. I played me centre half. Like fucking hell, what a guy! Honestly, couldn't speak highly enough of the man. He basically saved my career again because like fucking, I was down, I was done. I hated football at this point. Hated going into training. It was great. Obviously, the facilities were unbelievable. Fuck me, it was awful. Do you know what I mean? I'd much rather have been on 90 quid a week and watching it.
It's mental, isn't it? Like how things like that. You're there thinking, what the fuck am I doing my own kit? And then you're somewhere else, and part of you just wants to be back there.
Yeah, mad, mate.
It's mad.
And then like we had a really good cup run. We played Liverpool in the quarters, drew 0-0. Played really well centre half, drew 0-0 at Anfield, and then I absolutely killed it. Like obviously Sturridge, Sterling, and Coutinho were up top.
Wow.
And I was centre half, and I owned it. We should have won that game. And that was the quarters. Then played them at Ewood Park. Again, owned it. And I tore my hamstring. I pulled my hamstring halfway through the second half. But we lost 1-0. Coutinho scored. But mate, if I'd have stayed on, I think we'd have won that game. I'm not saying it was me. But
you have good feelings. And if you...
We had... The reason why I say that was because we had to play a left back then centre half because again we had no centre halves. We were down to the bare, but it was only me and Killer that were playing at the time. But we built up a really good relationship. The husband manager was watching the game, and
so you had a 2-year deal, didn't you, at Bolton? So you've done your first year at Bolton, second year on loan, 3 years, right? The second year was on loan at Blackburn.
Yeah. So then gone back to Bolton first, like because he's left now, Dougie Freeman, and Neil Lennon's come in, and
he didn't do too much better, did he?
But yeah, I liked him in terms of I only was with him a week, but so I turned up because obviously I'd done really well that year at Blackburn, absolutely loved it, dying to go back in terms of like please just sign me.
Was it not an opportunity? Did it nothing?
So yeah. So but Blackburn, but Middlesbrough just lost in the playoff final. Aitor Karanka, he was obviously Mourinho's assistant at Real Madrid.
He was good, weren't he? I remember at the time, yeah.
He was just what I needed in terms of like, I needed to then knuckle down. And they were again favourites to go up. And he was really harsh in terms of like, his personality. But he was great because personally, it was just what I needed in terms of I need to just get away.
Head back in the game, basically.
Head back in the game. Training on Sundays, you coming in on Sundays, so you can't, get up to any trouble. You know what I mean? It was just literally football.
Yeah.
So I was buzzing with that. See, like, really liked him as a person. 6 days in, I'm playing unbelievable. Like, I'm playing right back, but when I said it was a first pre-season game, and I was like Danny Alves. I was unbelievable for 20 minutes, and then I snapped my leg, and then
Ow. What happened there?
Just not a bad tackle. It was just a weird one. It was just a weird one.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, unfortunate. And it snapped my leg. And obviously, just heartbroken because it was just what I needed. And my injuries always seem to happen at the worst timing. So that happened in the Premiership year with Blackpool. 4 games in, I did my knee, so I was out for like 4 months. So the times when I didn't need to get injured, I got injured, and there were really long injuries. So I got back in March, but they get promoted that year, and I haven't fucking kicked a ball. Do you know what I mean? So I went on loan to Sheffield United. So I get back at March. Went on loan to Sheffield United, loved it. They were in League One at the time. Just missed out on the playoffs, but the manager got sacked, and then a new manager came in. Then I came in for like the last 10 games, but absolutely loved it. Middlesbrough get promoted, so I'm on the bench for the first team. I'm on the bench, obviously, come back pre-season on the bench, first few games in the Premiership, and then they signed Callum Chambers, and I could have. He was like, "You're not going to play." I haven't seen you last year. You was in League One because of my knee, because of my leg. And Preston signed me. I loved my time at Preston. Obviously, there's a massive rivalry, but I loved it.
But it's so far between it. It's not really seen as a.
Yeah.
It's not like you jumped ship, is it? From one
Well,
side.
if it wasn't, I'd have stayed. I should have been at Blackpool for the next. I should have been at Blackpool. I should never have left Blackpool until 35. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just literally because of the chairman and the way the club was run then.
They had the parachute payments as well. There was no need to do what we did.
He had a winning lottery ticket, mate. Well, I obviously siphoned all the money, didn't he? But I just don't know how you could do something like that in terms of like what the gaffer created was just special, and he just ruined it. He just pissed it up the wall.
Tell you what, just as a boy from Blackpool, like, I've not seen years like that. I've never seen years since, and I've never seen him before. That block of like them 3 years, the whole town was banging. It was it was unreal, weren't it? It was.
Lads loved it, absolutely loved it. The lads were there. You know what I mean? So then I went back to Middlesbrough. Gary Monk was the manager then. Really good guy. He just said, "Look, I'm 30. I'm 30 at this point." He's like, "Look, you need to play first team football." I'm in my last year at Middlesbrough. When I don't think I'm going to play you, so you can go. Which is fine, obviously, I knew from the bat. So that was before pre-season. So just spent, obviously, the time.
Where were you living at all this time? Like between from Blackpool, did you?
So Bolton was northwest, so I stayed in Liverpool.
Yeah. And when you were at Preston, I suppose you were back and then stayed at Liverpool.
Yeah, back in the house. When I was at Middlesbrough, so I was in a hotel.
So you were
days. So then get injured, so I'm out for 6 months. So I went back home. So for 3 months I couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
But because I had such a good relationship again with Blackburn, I used to go into Blackburn, just get treatment with all the lads. Obviously, again, Gary Bowyer, unbelievable. You used to get treatment with all the lads, So then I didn't have to go to Middlesbrough.
Right.
And then moved to Holloway's at QPR now. Moved to QPR for 3 years. Moved to London. Had a really good first season.
So these were the championship. Championship,
yeah, decent-ish first year. But I'm thinking, obviously, we're going to kick on next year. Holloway's going to stay. Eze's coming through.
Yeah.
We had some good players just coming through, like got rid of, and then next thing, Steve McLaren came in. And then obviously he didn't take to fancy to me.
Isn't it mad how like it's all about the manager who you take a fancy to? And
yeah, so we went away pre-season. Obviously, like lads always have a drink. You know, so you can have a drink, but you got to be up at, you got to go for a run at 8 o'clock, at 8:30, no, 9 o'clock it was. So like obviously, lads have had a few lads have gone and had a drink and gone home like at 10 o'clock. But there's like some like 6 of us have stayed out obviously till 4 or 5 in the morning steaming, and then woke up 9:10. Like obviously, fucking hell, me and this other lad.
I completely missed it.
Running around, like obviously they were training on the complex, running around trying to find him, trying to find all the squad. All the squad are on the beach, but when you're hungover, so making us do dog. They're just obviously having a light jog. We're doing doggies on this because he's fuming. Do you know what I mean? His head's gone because obviously we haven't made the curfew. And he knows we've been out, so obviously he's making us do doggies, mate, on the sand. You're like trying to do a time, you're like, oh my gosh, you know how hard it is to run in sand, half cut. All the lads are laughing, but they're not laughing because he's got steam coming out his ears, and then he just, you knew, you know what I mean, from that day, just me and the other lad, we ended up obviously going on loans to different places. He just didn't, you know what I mean?
Didn't fancy it. And...
yeah, he brought this German lad in, centre half, and fuck me. Fucking made mistake after mistake, but it was his captain, and like, when you see something, you're like, oh my god, and you're telling me I'm not better than him. Always make, all honesty, he'd make so many like mistakes. He'd like, fucking hell, mate. You know what I mean? But because he was his captain and he brought him in,
could do no wrong.
He's never gonna not play. Yeah, he's never gonna not play. Like, oh my god! Like you, like the lads and like the staff from like, say, what's going? What you white? Obviously, you need to say something like, mate, this is captain. And obviously, we had Bright Asante Samuel who's at Blackpool. He's at Fenerbahce now with Mourinho, and then obviously Ed Vere like coming through. So we had a decent side, but I just couldn't get in. Went to Luton. Luton was really good, but didn't play. I was kind of there as like the backup, but they was obviously on a tear up through League One.
Yeah.
So they already had their team sorted out. They had JJ on the right, Stacey on the left, and then the centre half. They didn't concede a goal for like fucking 10 games. You know what I mean? When I first got there, obviously, like JJ's now at Leicester, he's done, unbelievable. Yeah. They were class, but which is fair. It is what it is. And then I was struggling, so my contract was up at QPR, struggling, and then Doncaster came in. So went on trial, signed for Doncaster. Second game in, I only trained a week, played the first game, and then the second week snapped my Achilles. Yeah.
Wow, so what are you now then? What are you now about?
32?
Yeah, 32.
33, yeah, 32, 33. Snap my Achilles, get back, and then COVID it.
Ah.
So COVID was March, wasn't it? So yeah. Snap my Achilles.
March 2020.
March, season stopped in March. They've gone, obviously we're not signing you. Then Bolton came in.
It was Evan. I was going to say it was the manager.
When Gillo and Ebo and Gillo were there. Obviously went on trial. You could see that I still had it. Absolutely loved my time at Bolton. We wouldn't have lasted the first year if it weren't for the COVID, you know what I mean, with them fans, because we were fucking awful. We were like 20th in February and then just went on an absolute tear up. Ended up getting promoted.
So I take it your second time at Bolton was a million miles from the first one, was it?
Oh, million miles. Not the first 8 months, because like I said, if the fans would have been there, if it weren't for COVID, mate, I think I'd have got lynched. I honestly, mate, they'd have fucking hated me because we was awful. We was 20th in League Two. We was awful, and I was awful. The team was awful, and then just it was because obviously they were like 20 minutes from going bust, weren't they? Is that the story? So it was around that. It was just after, so the club was just in a turmoil, and it just needed to reset. And it wouldn't have been able to reset with the fans because obviously they were favourites. They were paying decent money then. for League Two, but it needed, like, if the fans, like, we were so bad, if the fans were there, mate, we'd have got lynched. And obviously, all of a sudden, went on the biggest tear up. Then had a year, then played the next year as well. In and out now. I'm 35. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
In and out. Not many, 15 games. We finished 10th. And I thought I'd get another year just as like a fifth choice because we'll play three centre halves. You know what I mean?
Squad player, yeah.
Squad player now at this point. And he said, "Oh no, you can go. Do you want to coach?" And I still felt I had a little bit of juice in the tank. Do you know what I mean? And I was a bit disappointed, if I'm honest, because I thought, around the squad, I was great at, like, obviously, I was that mentor now. I was that, you know what I mean? That older head in the change room. I thought I could have offered a lot off the pitch as well as on the pitch. You know what I mean? Because I still thought I had it. Every time I played, I didn't look out of place. You know what I mean? I always wanted to. I didn't want to make myself look a twat. In terms of like staying until I couldn't do it anymore. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And then I went to Waterford. August, because no one was coming in, and then that's it.
When you were at that kind of age, when you were at 35 and no one was coming in, like when a team like Waterford did it, it was in Ireland. What were you expecting? Were you expecting at 35? Were you trying to hold on still to what you thought you had left still? And
the thing was, obviously, the year before when I played centre, because when I was brilliant. Do you know what I mean? The year before when we got promoted.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Class in terms of like the last 15 games. And then the year we stayed in League One and finished 10th. I was unbelievable. I wasn't unbelievable. What my point was that I didn't look any worse than the other centre halves. Do you know what I mean?
You didn't look out of place.
At least a League Two club. Jesus Christ. It's not. And at this point, I found League Two football easy. Do you know what I mean? Because I think, fuck me, it's not hard to get promoted. From where I've been, and obviously the player I was, and but no one ever came. No one ever came in.
No,
mad. So obviously the wages. They might think, oh, he's on. They don't want to pay that, and they want to go younger, and there's a resale value that obviously I don't have, and do you know what I mean, and stuff like that. But I don't. It is what it is.
But your career, and how do you put your career in a few words on yourself? Like you're happy. You like say you've made a couple of little mistakes, which Mansfield, where you could have gone to Sheffield United.
There's just like
more good than bad though.
Pardon?
More good than bad.
No, not really. I think I left a little bit on the table in terms of like nutrition, horrendous, bad injuries that happened at the wrong times, bad decisions. But you go through life, and I don't have no regrets because these are you've got to make them decisions at that time. You know what I mean? In terms of like obviously the Bolton decision was the worst probably decision. Not being able to stand up for myself at 18, not having the right person behind me, not having a team behind me. At that age, the Bolton decision's a fucking critical one. Injuries played a massive part, but it is what it is. You know what I mean? There's a tinge of this again. When you're on about careers and looking back, and do you watch? Like looking back on your career, it's just like you think, fucking hell.
It was great. More as well from an outside point of view. I'm in awe of when I have these conversations with yourselves. Like, you're professional footballers, the people that I get to talk to. I never made it nowhere near them levels. I played Sunday League footy, and that was it. So to hear that, like, it's your story and people make these mistakes, and everyone's human, aren't they? And mistakes are there. Yeah.
And you don't realise that you're making these mistakes until hindsight. And you know what I mean. So you can't obviously live with regret.
No.
But it's just you always want more, don't you? Do you know what I mean? And
definitely.
It's I just wanted more, and I knew And I wanted another crack at the Premiership. That kills me. You know, being out for 3 months, 4 months, kills me. You know what I mean? I made 21 appearances. That should have been at least 50. In terms of I should have played that season. I should have definitely had another season in there at least. Do you know what I mean?
When you were 35 and you finished at Waterford, were you kind of content to finish in the end?
Nothing prepares you for retirement in terms of, like, you know, the football side. Fuck me. It's horrible. It's brutal. I won't wish it on. I won't wish it. You know, and obviously you want like your kids to, or do you want your kids to play football? Kind of, but fuck me. I wouldn't wish the retirement bit on anyone. Because you're up here and everyone knows your name. And then
it's like, it's all in past tense.
It's all in past tense, yeah. Didn't you used to be, I didn't you used to be Alex Baptiste? Like, yeah. You know what I mean? I still have, you know what I mean? It's fucking horrible. It's brutal, mate. So I won't wish that on anyone. I won't wish that on me. Not at all. And obviously the highs are the highs, but the lows, mate, the lows are the highs are great, but I always think about the lows. But like you say, I never wanted to be that player that's fucking hanging on. Look at him, mate. His legs are gone. Yeah, but it is what it is.
Right. Well, thanks so much, and we'll leave it at that.
All right.
Yeah, brilliant, and appreciate your time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, mate.
Thanks very much.
No problem. All right.